Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stand-up meeting of Intersect Town Hall Swarm Team. Here we go over the GitHub board, which is a public board where everybody can see how we are trying to fulfill the proposal requirements. There are some now simplification as we started with more like a merchant process and need to try out like all the details. And yeah, we thought I'm gonna share a bit of what changes I made and what these items are, and then I'm gonna close the recording and we can have like a more discussion if any changes needs to be more done. But also while I'm reviewing, it kind of gives the context what happened and what is up to coming. At the top, I will basically skip that part as planned, didn't change much here, and all of these are still on the works. I moved into two sections. I now moved the publicity stuff into this section, and I feel like these are items that never change their kind of status until its project is over. I have this like the budget sheet we had, we shared that we should do some changes. Also, we had this like an issue of 7 after town halls instead of 8 at some points. So there are some calculations here. We can asynchronously decide like the budget changes from 2,000 to 4,000 or 1,000 to 3,000, and some items get like different proportions slightly, but this can be done asynchronously. And if that is ratified, then the GitHub will also look much more like correct with the estimations.
Yeah.
On the publicity side, I think I added some more details from the budget sheet itself and from the proposal of the cost and estimation. So I feel the template that was here like empty before. And so we add more clarity what kind of stuff it goes towards to. For the publicity material creation, it has been a bit harder. So I only collected what we had in throughout this time and created from the comments and to the top, which basically is setting up us like, okay, where do we have publicity messages? Where do we distribute them? And now the final changes where we also track what kind of information is coming to us from the request from committees, working groups, on all these different communication channels.
Okay.
And now regarding the Intersect town halls and after town halls, previously we had like one big task and a bunch of small tasks instead of now making new actions items for each of the tasks greater than action item list. And a bit detailed it by like the average flow we had. We of course in all the months we didn't do all of these things or in semi-order. So but now I feel like this is kind of like it feels like a process we always gonna go through. Having an agenda drop, then we having the slides, then we are deciding facilitators or like presenters for each of the slots. And then we add video where like actually the thing happens, and the meeting summary after that, because video may come out and Intersect wants it, but the meeting summary will take like a week before it comes. And then I felt like it's always needed to remind Intersect to update stuff and like get like an extra step that has to be done. And then we can at least say that it was done on each of these weeks. So that would be the Intersect town hall side. For the after town hall, it's a different style in a sense that we may have more rooms. So I was thinking that we may have for each after town hall, we have our own, or for the breakout room, we have its own like title or action item. So if you look at the current or the last town hall we had, we haven't ratified that yet. Where do I find it? Here it's August. Not yet decided should it be in part of the title or not. No, that's not after town hall. After town hall is Intersect after town hall August. It's basically just meeting summary, the details on that, and that's it.
Yeah, I think there might be a label system I was using.
compared to?
So if you look at the labels, Tevo.
Yeah, this is one thing I haven't added at all, like our labeling. Like
Mm,
this was previous version where we had action items from each of these, but it adds a lot of
yeah.
overhead to kind of
Oh
do
yeah, yeah.
this.
I was the original way I was doing it was much more ambitious, but you're going in the right direction. It can be a lot more simplified.
Um, yeah, okay, so that labeling
Mm,
stuff, this we could address and maybe
yeah,
after recording.
yeah. I mean, basically, yeah. I'll just say this now, and then we can talk more about it after the recording. But basically, as long as each action item for a particular month corresponds to a budget line, you're okay. Okay, that's all.
Mm,
That's the minimum requirement, if you like. And so that you can give evidence is that we're giving evidence of tracking the project. Yeah.
mm,
But the amount of detail you put under each item, like for example, you could put anything from like a complete meeting summary to just a sentence. It's up to you. So some items it will be appropriate to just put a sentence or two, for example. Whereas yeah, so or you could create a link to more detail as well, like you have been doing for some things.
mm. Yeah, regarding the links to details, I do actually like the fact that like the summary or from the doc comes in the end to GitHub, so people don't have to dig into the links.
Yeah, yeah. And the
Even
reason
though,
why the ambition for doing that was I know this feeds into other work that you might be doing on GitHub. It's like a dework replacement in a way.
hmm,
So also if we did document things fully in an issue, in the text of an issue, in principle, we could extract the text from that using automated tools in the future. That's the only reason why it'd be good to do that as well. I think Andre's been doing something similar with archive stuff and things.
hmm, all right. And then in progress, we have a milestone framework. And so that is to uh, like satisfy the milestone 1 for
Right,
Intersect
right,
stuff.
right, right.
Intersect Town Hall playbook. This is technically the same thing. It's just that milestone 1 framework is like um, a precursor to what playbook is. And it may end up that this framework is going to be something of playbook. However, when we look at the original playbook, there is much more information to
Right.
be expected compared to what the framework expects to
Is
be.
the milestone framework a reporting requirement to the Intersect project team?
Yep.
Right. So it's unbudgeted.
Mm,
It's kind of
but the budget will come from playbook.
potentially, but it's part of our overhead as a project team, so it's not necessarily budgeted. Whereas
Mm,
the playbook is. I'll leave it up to you. It's up to you to what you want to do with it. But yeah,
well, I always felt like that is like the final version of playbook is like a framework you can use. And so, but like we brought it as like we get to do the framework once we know how
yeah,
we operate. But like
yeah.
we are kind of misunderstood. We need to
And,
already.
yeah, and by the way, these are proposal milestones, not the project board milestones. The
Mm,
project board milestones are months. Yeah, by the way.
mm. Okay, yeah. So yeah,
Isn't
Yeah.
that isn't that a bit awkward? Why don't we have the milestones as the same as the project
It's
milestones?
because we have more detail than them.
Yeah,
So
no, but why? Why do we?
if we change it, it'll completely mess everything up. So basically, if we have everything now, we can export all the data as a spreadsheet with our monthly costs. That's what we can do from GitHub, and we can match that with their milestones. Their milestones are quarterly or something. Can't remember now.
Bi-monthly,
But
It's every 2 months. Yeah.
every 2 months. So
with the exception
So
of the first milestone.
Yeah.
so all we have to do is export the sheets and then extract 2 months data. Really, do you see what I mean?
Mm.
So, but we need the granularity of a month to separate out our month's tasks, because we have a monthly life cycle. Yeah, where the monthly life cycle is the 3 meetings we have: the first work group meeting, the second work group meeting, the stand up, and then the town hall and the after town hall. Yeah.
Okay. Just to kind of clarify, so for this milestone 1, because if by the proposal it is expected by the first month, does it then say that we should have it?
Strictly speaking, and I think this is a cause of a complaint from Intersect, that should have covered. When did we start? Was it July or August? I thought we started in June. Yeah, I thought it started in June. So it should have covered June and July, really. But yeah. So from if the first 2 months, if in terms of how, well, it depends on how they are defining their milestones, Tevo. Yeah. So if they mean the first 2 months, then that's June and July. Yeah.
Yeah. For this, basically.
And if you wanted data for that, you would filter the GitHub board to just show June and July, which I can show you maybe asynchronously how to do that. It's quite straightforward. You just put a formula in there, and then you can extract all the data out for reporting purposes. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we have these engagement and participation reports. So that would address now, once the framework is done, that kind of completes the second milestone, and then in order also basically third milestone, because there we don't, I think, request any other reports. And yeah, then Swarm stand-up session. Here I'm not yet sure how should that be documented. Like, is it just a copy of that? Oh, by the way, I don't even know how to duplicate, so I always have to kind of just copy paste from one place to another.
That's what you have to do. GitHub. You just have to copy and paste it. But there isn't any. Well, no, if you copy an issue, I don't think it copies the body of the text. Unfortunately, it's a bit weird. Yeah. So if we were very serious, we could create templates, issue templates, but we're not.
It's fine.
We're not putting a lot of work into this. So, but yeah, if you want to do it properly, you can create an issue template. So we do that. I'll make that as a note for the future. But obviously, I was starting to try and document our stand-ups in much more detail. Yeah. But going forward, it's not strictly necessary to do that. All we need to do is to just say it happened and give some. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So basically, copy of this and add here the video of what we just do, and change the date to today, and then it's basically.
Yeah, I'll leave it up to your discretion for you to. Yeah, as long as it's got the date and the cost against it, etc., then it can be exported.
All right.
Yeah.
And yeah, finally we have these done tasks. We have a lot of done tasks. It's coming from August and also from this month. And because the last month was a bit more like a summer break, even though we got like sidelined by Intersect stuff and we need to do some training around then. But yeah, so I think after recording, we can move these either to be paid or not done as expected, and basically sort it out for others.
Yeah.
But yeah, before I stop recording, are there something or notions that you or Bonnie want to say?
No, I think that covers the logic of the board in as much detail as we need to know. Yeah.
Yeah, all good for me as well.
Well, and in the meeting summary, you will find the GitHub link if you are interested. Thanks for watching. See you in the next town hall or workshop or both.